Hey there guys, welcome back to NIMBY Rails. I did do a great deal between sessions, although I have mostly finished England now. I finished the Cumbrian coastline up to Carlisle, the Cecil and Carlisle line up to Carlisle, the West Coast Main line to Carlisle, and the I don't know what it's called line from Newcastle to Carlisle. So the only bit of England left is Newcastle up to Berwick, which is practically Scotland. I'll have offended a lot of people living along that stretch in Northumberland by saying that, but it's as good as Scotland for the purposes of this. The border is somewhere around. I don't know. It's Annan to Berwick, but it's somewhere around there. Today, I'm going to work on Carstairs, which I hadn't realised is actually a massive distance away from Carlisle. But oh well, Carstairs is where I've decided I'm working today. All I know is it's not near. Well, it's vaguely near Lanark. It's not miles away from Lanark. In fact, it's actually very close to Lanark, closer than I initially anticipated. There is Carstairs. I think the station is there. That looks about right. Carstairs is an intriguing one because all sorts can happen here, but there's only 2 platforms. What am I doing? I need 2 platforms across there. It's, I'll be honest, it's not performing great. It's proving quite laggy. I don't know. I can hear that my computer fan has just whirred up massively. And I don't know why it's done that. Because NIMBY Rails should not use up that much processor power. That my fan needs to have a field day. So I'm a little bit concerned. Not significantly yet, just a little bit. So we have 2 lines come up from the west coast and go into the 2 different platforms by the looks of it. There's a 3rd line. Well, in reality there's 2 more lines. I'll do them. I'm not happy with the shape of that, but there's a limit to what I can do, so I'm going to leave it as it is for now. There's 2 lines and they come out of this track. 1 and... come on, click when I click. 2. Then what? There's also connection from there across to here. Very slow. Not totally happy with that. That's going to need some adjustment. Hence why I gave it some room. 60 is going to have to do, I think. I'm just going to look at my other map to see if I can work out what's going on here. Oh, that's designed horribly. Okay. Yeah, my interpretation is some stuff happens. So there's a double track coming around here. It actually comes around pretty tight, all things considered. Although I might be able to make that a bit wider. And it heads off up in that direction. Pretty much straight, I think, for all intents and purposes. Until it hits a road. Continue this way and you'll find a road. Or maybe even a tree. And you'll wonder, what's a tree doing there? And then you'll think, much like me, where on earth has this quote come from? I know it's a quote, but I don't know what it's from. If you can help, let me know in the comments. Because I'm stumped, really. I have no idea where I remember that quote from. All I know is it's a quote. Right, a little crossover here for Carstairs Triangle Junction. There we go. And So what I do know is Carstairs is quite a major player for the Caledonian Sleeper. The Lowlander Sleeper that goes to Glasgow and Edinburgh pulls into Carstairs and splits, and then the Edinburgh portion goes out the other way up towards Haymarket and Edinburgh, while the Glasgow portion continues on. There we go. Random railway fact for the area. It's about all I've got. Plenty of services go near Carstairs. Not a great deal of them use it as a station. Most of them just run through fast. There's my other fact. I've now exhausted my facts. So this could be some interesting commentary for the rest of this building. We shall see. The aim was going to be to connect Carlisle to Carstairs today, but I hadn't realised quite how far away they are. Quite how far apart the two are. And that might not actually be as plausible as I'd first imagined. So the line comes out of here and round. And the two main tracks, presumably, as would be sensible, go into the platforms. Which, unfortunately, because of the distance between the platforms, because it's an island platform, go figure, that makes it slightly difficult. In NIMBY Rails terms. In reality, the island platform is quite narrow at either end. It tapers in. I can't do that in NIMBY Rails, so we end up with this, where the tracks are massively far apart leading up to it on either side. There's a junction off there-ish, possibly even a bit further back, but I'm going to do it here. And this comes into a couple of sidings. And you can tell how much I care about these sidings by the amount of effort and time I'm putting into them. He says as if he's going to put very little in, and then actually puts in more than he anticipated. I don't know what uses them. I know that NIMBY Rails won't be able to, and won't have need to, and therefore it doesn't really matter. There we go, 4 sidings. On the other side, we have a loop. It starts there, and it comes down to here. We just run that round the top, maybe neaten it up a little bit. But it continues on. You don't just have to connect into the station there, you can carry on round the outside. Firstly, you could connect into the station here as well, because why would you only have one place to connect into the station, when you could instead have 2? Secondly, I've just realised I missed a junction on the other side. Here. Not there. That's the complete wrong place. On the road that I can't see because it's underneath the station. There's a crossover. There we go. This carries on round predominantly, and it joins up there. Obviously, I'm joining up on the inside of a curve, which I really should try and avoid more in NIMBY Rails than I do. And again, it's just a couple of sidings off of it here. So there's one there, another parallel one around the curve, and if I can get off at an ideal angle that doesn't make it all turn white, there's a couple up here as well. One there, and one there. There we go, Carstairs, done. Now, between Carstairs and Carlisle, there is a singular station at Lockerbie. I'm also just going to double check, I'm pretty sure it's just a plain double track line. There's a loop at Abington, and another loop at Beatock Summit. Not sure either of them are worth adding. Yard at Beta, again, not sure. The yard at Lockerbie will be added because I actually have to zoom in at Lockerbie. Although, goodness knows where it is. There it is. It's marked on the map, helpfully. So, Lockerbie Station. It's double track at least down to Lockerbie, and I'd assume it's double track from Carlisle up, so I guess that's something. Has the map loaded in? I was just zooming in on my other map while I waited for NIMBY Rails to load, because it's taking longer and longer over that nowadays. It's understandable, the amount of stuff I've got built, although not nearly all the trains are set up, so presumably only going to get much, much worse. I was asked about my plans for Northern Ireland in a comment the other day, and well, my plans for Northern Ireland are to get to it after I've done Scotland and the Isle of Man and the Heritage Railways. That is very much dependent on the game still being able to handle it. In the current state, it doesn't look likely. Right, we come out south, and I imagine it goes down like that. I don't actually know. It does curve like that. Okay. It curves through that little bit there. Which is quite the curve for what claims to be red on Open Railway maps. But okay. If you want to try it. There's a junction off there, and that comes out into presumably a goods loop. Presumably the up goods loop. I assume up is still towards London here, even though we're much closer to Glasgow. Up was typically towards London when it was designated. There are some times when it's not. I know Derby is one of the places that gets up designated towards it sometimes. I don't know about anywhere else. But typically it's London. So I would assume on this line where one end of it is London, the up direction is towards London and not towards Glasgow. There's also a loop on the other side. And a crossover, actually. So there's a crossover here. Presumably to get to those sidings. And then there's a loop from like there-ish that comes up to here. It's not a long loop, all things considered. Okay. Now to connect the track up. It might be easier to start off by collecting to Carlisle. Ah, I didn't do the north end of Carlisle station. Okay, in which case, it's going to be easier to connect to Carstairs first. I'd forgotten I hadn't done the north end of Carlisle station. I thought I did that in the video. Clearly I only did the south side. It was only like 2 weeks ago that I recorded it, but I've already forgotten. So I guess I'm going to try and build up to Carstairs quickly. I have no idea where I'm going. Probably over there. That feels like the sort of place I'd have to go, is over that road. And pressing a lot of buttons. There we go. Through that gap is what I was aiming for. Which actually is a bit harder to get to than I anticipated. I think I made it. And then through there. And now, who knows? Who knows where? Round there, maybe? Potentially? I'll probably just swing back round at some point. Which I'm going to try for here, despite the fact it actually looks quite hilly. Is there a nice place? Where does the line go in relation to Moffat, do you reckon? That feels like the sort of place where I could work it out. where the line goes is the other side of the dual carriageway over here. So that's cool. Turns out I'm in the complete wrong place. So it wraps around up here by the looks of it. Yeah, there's BTEC where the sidings probably are. The question is, how do I get to that? When did we cross this road? This road, the dual carriageway. There, as it turns out. Okay, I don't know if I meant to viaduct or tunnel it. I have driven down this road once or twice, but years ago. And I wasn't really looking out for the West Coast Main Line, I just know it crossed a couple of times. Well, there's something to distract me for a bit. Work out where the train crashed. This is a reasonably regular occurrence now. Where does the train crash? Why does it crash? Try and fix it. The other day I found a queue of 12 trains coming through Greenwich because I'm missing that balise. So they were queuing up until the train got to London Bridge in effect, I think. Now the problem is, I don't know what train crashed. There should be 2 of them. This will be why the game's lagging actually, because I'm running it so fast. 2 trains should have crashed. You can't have just one crash. I kind of remember what it looked like, so we could scroll down this list and see if anything looks similar. It looked like it was... I'm not seeing anything useful. It looked like it might have been a 378 actually. How did an overground train crash? Okay, I mean that narrows it down quite a bit. It's reasonably simple to find overground routes. It's not that one. Actually, am I even running any 378s? Group by model. Oh, I am running 43 of them, fair enough. Just clearly not on the line I was looking at there. Yeah, there's some here, okay. There's one there, there's another one there. Those 2 haven't crashed. So the problem now is finding the 378 that's crashed as opposed to the ones that haven't. Because there are a lot of them. It's not on the Goblin line, my bloke's barking, because that's all 710s. I don't think I've set up Watford DC line yet, because I haven't signalled to the West Coast Main Line. It's not down at Richmond. It's not West Brompton. It was unlikely to be Clapham Junction. It's not there. It's probably down around London Bridge. That's where an awful lot of stuff ends up crashing nowadays. If I can't find it though, I'm just going to have to ride it off until I actually see a queue. I haven't seen it. I can't see a queue and there's no alert flashing up on my screen. Is that something you have to turn on now? Doesn't look like it. Oh, I'd forgotten what that looked like. I've had that turned off for so long. I'd forgotten the pain of it. Station events, so I'll look at all those numbers. Well, can you see any trains queuing up anywhere? The thing is, if it's in London, I'm never going to see it because there's so many of them in the first place. Especially if it's the overground, it's normal for them to be queued up on the overground. Is it, it's not West Croydon, is it? No, they're still running. They're still running in and out of Crystal Palace, okay. Nothing on that line appears to have jammed to a halt. And everything still seems to be running along the North London line. So it clearly wasn't a 378. The problems I've been having with queuing have typically been in and out of London Bridge. I have had the bi-directional lines through here get jammed up. Part of the problem with the trains in the latest version having their own routing system and being able to choose the optimal route for themselves rather than the line's route is they can block each other as they come along here. I've got all the southern trains set to use one line in and one line out, but they start choosing other lines because they're all bi-directional, and they end up blocking each other in, so no one can go anywhere. Everything still seems to be moving down in Cornwall. Everything's still moving around Southampton. It's all still moving along the coastway. C2C is still going. Southeastern's still going, which is rather impressive. That's how it normally grinds to a halt. Trains heading towards Hastings as well. That's they were the ones who got blocked up for a couple of weeks in game, and in real life for that matter. Thameslink still running. That's the other one I'd imagine broke. St Albans is still an interesting one. At least there is a bit of through flow now. That took a while to actually get working. I'm not seeing anything actually stuck, to be perfectly honest. I don't know if it was just a bug with the game and it reported something that didn't actually happen. I mean, some of the underground lines are annoyingly clumped up, but Northern seems to be running okay in that it's got two trains both moving. Super Tram is still running, so you know that's something. The Super Tram actually runs surprisingly well, given that half the trams terminate halfway along the line. Blackpool Tram is still running, still got literally 0 passengers. Glasgow Subway, that would be a hard push to jam up, but I guess it's possible. I'm not seeing anything completely stuck. I still need to finish the rest of the long distance Great Western services. I've been putting it off because they're so awkward to timetable, but I do need to do it at some point. Yeah, everything seems to be running, so I'm not sure what the game was trying to report there. Or if it was just a delayed report or something I fixed ages ago. That happens sometimes. Waterloo's still flowing, isn't it? Well, I've gone over the length of time I was intending to play for. I didn't really connect Lockerbie to Carstairs or Carlisle, but I will. So thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed and want more, and I'll catch you in the next one.